There's no shortage of good twin-stick shooters on PSN. With another one into the mix, what sets Big Sky Infinity apart from the rest? What makes it better? Should you even be interested? The answer is yes. Big Sky Infinity is indeed a side-scrolling twin-stick shooter, though there is a few nuances to it that makes it a fun, enticing experience for the arcade shmup lovers. Presentation-wise, Big Sky combines bright beaming colors with an old-school vibe. This is evident in the menus and the gameplay. Backdrops for the menus and modes are a gorgeous movement of stars in deep space. There's nothing here that isn't polished for the eyes. Gameplay-wise, you're going to find familiar mechanics. As the screen moves, enemies will come, and you do some shooting. There's a good assortment of enemies, and there's 4 bosses you'll periodically run into. I say periodically because Big Sky Infinity has no set starting position in its side-scrolling world. Across all modes, you start at a random section. This isn't ideal for certain modes, or how you unlock them. One example being Boss Rush mode. It requires you to beat all bosses in order to unlock it, which is fine if I ever ran into them. It became frustrating trying to unlock this mode. It was completely random for me to meet the boss I was missing in the other modes. Every time I started playing, I always randomly met the other bosses. I also find that with no set starting position for at least one mode, I had a real lack of goals to shoot for other than my score. The game tries to somewhat remedy this with counting your distance made in the game from your random starting position, but I never cared for this statistic. Something real bothersome is how you get thrown into the game after the tutorial. The tutorial teaches someone who's never played twin-stick shooters, but it doesn't teach you the game's specifics. It took me 2 hours to understand everything about the hectic gameplay that goes on. Things like black holes, vortexes, and warp speed aren't taught to you. I was very confused every time I died because I never understood what was even happening on screen. Mode variety is plenty though. Despite them all featuring the random starting position, there's 12 in total with different difficulties, conditions, and upgrades. You'll be spending most of your time in classic mode though. This includes everything the game has to offer to throw at you, and has a deep shop system for your ship. Here you can make tons of upgrades to your ship using star bits that you collected in the game. I couldn't stop playing as I kept hunting for the next upgrade for my ship to help me in my next session. One particular thing you'll appreciate is the amount of statistics you get after every session. It's the little things that set games apart, and I like that Big Sky Infinity gives you all the info on all your sessions. Speaking of little things, the narrator and the text in the game is generally pretty funny.
Flowers and frolics. Deaded.
As for the Vita version, it's just as good. It's nearly the same exact game as the PS3 version. And file this one under cross-buy. One purchase gets you both games, and always fantastic value added to PS3 and Vita players. Even better, Big Sky does support full cloud syncing saves. There is a difference to the versions though. The Vita version features a horse mode that lets you challenge your friends and random people in asynchronous gameplay. You set a challenge, you set a score, and your friend tries to beat that score. If they fail, they get a letter. This goes on until someone gets hoarse. The PS3 version, however, does not have this mode, and instead allows local multiplayer with extra controllers. The Vita version does not have this. It's a bit odd that both versions have different exclusive modes. Seems like both versions could have had them, though it works out that the Vita version gets asynchronous multiplayer while the PS3 gets local multiplayer. Big Sky Infinity has some minor annoyances, but that's what they are, minor. Overall, you're going to have a great time with Big Sky Infinity. If you own a PS3 and Vita, this is a great game that does exactly what Sony's been advertising. This is another great shoot 'em up on the PlayStation Network.
We totally stormed them. Let's see if we can totally storm the next. Limit break!